In news just coming in, a class 9 student has died in Imphal after violent clashes between protesters, mostly students, and the police in the state capital of Manipur. Indefinite curfew has been clamped and the situation is extremely tense. Police used rubber bullets and tear gas to try and disperse the crowd. They're mostly consisting of students who were trying to head to the Manipur assembly. The students are part of an organization that's been agitating for a tough law for an inner line permit regime that will restrict the entry of outsiders into the state. The organization mostly draws its strength from students, even school-going ones. Inner line permit regimes are in place in Manipur, Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh. Alok Pandey now joins us on the phone line. Alok, we're seeing those pictures that you sent us of the clashes and the injuries. One class 9 student has also been killed.
Well, yes, that is correct. One class 9 student has been killed, and I think those pictures are striking in the sense, Amitabh, that all of those people clashing with the police are school children. This group that agitates for the inner line permit regime in Manipur is a group that uses school students. It's been happening for the last 3 or 4 years. Today there was this group of students, hundreds of students in fact, who had planned to march to the state assembly, we are being told, and the police had stopped them at a particular area, after which these people clashed with the police. The police used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse these students after things got out of hand. There are some reports that suggest that the police also fired, but that is an unconfirmed thing. The police are denying it totally. Also, reports suggest that this class 9 student who died because a tear gas shell came and hit him. So that is what is happening. An indefinite curfew has been clamped across Imphal. It looks set to continue for some time now. The situation is very, very tense. This agitation, Amitabh, has gone on for 3 or 4 years now. These protesters are saying that there should be a restriction to the entry of outsiders, people like you and me, if we want to go into Manipur. Currently, there is no such restriction, but there are restrictions in place in other states like Mizoram, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, and they want the same system to be imposed in Manipur. The Manipur government has brought in a legislation this March, but these agitators are saying that it lacks teeth and is not sufficient to stop the influx of outsiders, as they call these people, into Manipur, and that is why this agitation has been taking place. What is really tragic, perhaps, is the use of school children in the agitation and this tragic death that has just happened.
Alok, as you've been pointing out, and from the pictures that we're seeing there, this organization that has been protesting for a stricter inner line permit regime, mostly students, even school students.
Yes, and like I said, that is the most shocking part. But in Manipur, when you speak to these protesters, they really have no qualms about saying that they feel that the students really feel about the issue, and that's why they involve the students. A little hard to understand how students in class 8 and class 9 have anything to do with an agitation that demands the a restriction on the entry of outsiders into the state, but that's the way things are in Manipur. Also very important to point out that in at least the last 3-4 years, there has been a severe restriction, a severe crippling of the education system in Manipur, particularly in Imphal, where each time there is an assembly session, such agitations take place. And that's what's happened this time around too. An assembly session is on, and these agitators try their best to go storm the state assembly or to go and create some kind of a ruckus. They believe it's important to their cause, but unfortunately it results in clashes like this one. This is not the first time it has happened, but this time tragically a class 9 student, has lost his life.
Alok, also just explain the background of why there is this agitation for a stricter inner line permit regime.
Well, this agitation is an agitation that seeks to restrict, Amitabh, the entry of outsiders. Say people like you and me, if we want to go into Manipur currently, we have no restriction. You and I can go to the airport, go by a bus and enter Manipur or the capital Imphal. Now, what these people are demanding is that there should be a regime like what is in place in, say, Mizoram or in Arunachal Pradesh or in Nagaland, where once, suppose you're flying in, suppose you get into the Imphal airport, you have to fill out a form, pay some money, get yourself registered, and only then get in. Now, why is this happening? Because these people who are leading the agitation say that there has been an influx of illegal immigrants at one end and also of outsiders, as they call people who come in from other parts of the country, which is leading to, number one, of course, illegal immigration into Manipur. Number two, also the fact that a lot of people are coming in from outside and taking the jobs that could have gone to the local population. That's what they have been saying. Another violent agitation has also gone on in Meghalaya, but that in the last year has petered out a little. But in Manipur, you still have this agitation where these organizations are saying that they will go to any extent to get the government to legislate to this point. The government brought in a law. The government has already brought in a legislation in March that seeks to register at least those who are coming in, but at the moment it's not in force, and these agitators are saying that it's not enough. It does not have teeth, and that is why they will continue with this agitation.
Alok Pandey, on a class 9 student who has died after protests got violent and the police had to stop them in Imphal. There's an indefinite curfew there, and we'll get you more on that story.